I know what you're probably thinking right now. Bro's got that wild beast inside of him, man. Back when I was writing The Descent, I wanted to come up with the most hardcore and like edgiest line I could think of, right? So I thought of, the wild beast inside of me. But after I wrote that line, everyone in Babel was like memeing on it, and like they started posting the wolf meme, dude. And I had no idea it was a meme this entire time, man. I felt kind of dumb about it. Hey there, everyone. My name is Dangle. I'm the lyricist and one of the vocalists in Babel. And I'm also responsible for helping to write the top line, aka the main melody for most of our songs. So, anyways, here is our genius breakdown video of our original song, The Siege.
Also, disclaimer, this is just a parody using the Genius Humpling is a non-profit video made just for fun. All ownership of copyrighted materials belong to the respective owners.
Okay, let's go. Let's start. Death is coming for my soul. A step to the unknown, and wait until our prophecy unfold. Now, where we find ourselves in the story of Babel, I'm not gonna go too much in depth about the story, but if you are interested in knowing more about the story, please check out the descriptions of our music videos because the lore is written by Vedra and it's all included there in the description. So if you want to follow along to the lore of our music videos, please check that out. But anyways, right now, where we are, our heroes are stepping closer and closer to a climactic battle, right? There's a huge war coming for them. Now, in reality, in life, right, death pretty much lurks around every corner, especially in war. You never really know what's gonna happen in a war. Literally, you could die at any moment. But yeah, all you can really do at that point is just continue stepping into the unknown, right? Live or die. You gotta fight to survive. And we really wanted this to set the tone, actually, for our song, right? It's melancholic, it's depressing, and it's the sad truth that we had to face, actually, before the reality and gravity of our situation settles in. Calm before the storm approaches, till the tree burns bright, this won't be the end. The calm before the storm. This was like the best way to describe like the eeriness and the tension before something big, something just absolutely devastating happens. And this was our way of leading up into that big drop that leads into the chorus, right? Right as everything comes crashing down and the siege really begins, Until we fight back and win, we'll always be trapped in this endless cycle of pain and suffering. Man, that was pretty edgy, but this was a pretty edgy song, so. And now the world's upon me, gathering hell tsunami, flooding down this wretched town. Okay, alright. I'm really excited to talk about this part, alright? Because actually, this is where I started writing the lyrics for the song. Initially, before we started, Vedra and I both agreed that if you don't have a solid chorus to a song, the whole song just kind of falls apart, right? So after pondering on this for a while and just thinking about how I wanted to start, I thought back to how Vedra described the song to me, right? He was like, think of waves of monsters and demons, right? Endless waves of them attacking our heroes and the town. And think of it as like our endgame moment, right? This is the final battle, the siege, if you may. So I thought to myself, how can I describe waves of enemies without being direct and calling it that exactly, right? And I thought about tsunamis. It's a very exaggerated way to describe a wave, right? But I think it really helps set the stage for how devastating and horrific this battle is and how horrific it will be. Tsunamis are very, very powerful forces to be reckoned with, and that kind of mirrors the enemy that we're going up against. And after that, the rest of the chorus just starts to come together after I decided that I wanted to build the chorus off of the word tsunami. I want to add too, actually, the first line of the chorus is actually a reference to the story of Atlas from Greek mythology. I learned about this actually through Percy Jackson, like after reading like the third book, Titan's Curse. But the Titan Atlas was actually condemned to carry the weight of the sky. I was gonna say the weight of the world. It basically kind of is, but he was condemned to carry the weight of the sky for all eternity. And in this case, actually, it's relatable. Like a lot of times when people are put in very stressful moments and have to shoulder so much responsibility, it really does feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, right? And that's the type of high stakes and responsibility I wanted to portray with our heroes, that they carry so much burden upon themselves that it really feels like they could be crushed by how much is at stake, especially against quote unquote hell's tsunami. The dread of war, it lingers through every callous finger. Okay, guys, all right. This right here is my favorite line of the song. My favorite line that I wrote, actually. And it's nuts because it all stemmed from me listening to my friends from Chalky, Kagura and Lorian, after they released their song called Cynical, right? It's a short way of saying the collective deja vu of being cynical. That's actually like the full title of the song. But I just want to say I love this song. I absolutely love this song, and I just love the lyrics that Lorian wrote for it. Like for real. Actually, if you haven't listened to the song, please listen to it. The collective deja vu of being cynical by Chalky. Please check that out. But the first two lines of the song were so well written. Like it stayed on my mind throughout the entire time I was writing for the siege, right? Like here. I'll show you how the first two lines sound, all right? It goes like this. I smell the temptations of everything I knew before. The taste of it lingers like salt on a wound that festers and cures. Like, for real? Dude, the lyrics, the words on those two lines are just perfect. They're literally perfect. Like, while writing The Siege, I was actually thinking back to those words in those lines a lot. And when I came across the word linger, I thought actually about how great of a word it really is, right? Just to describe something that, that really sticks with you, or something that can be like seen as long lasting. Not many songs I've noticed really use that word. At least, it's been used a few times for sure. But I feel like every time I do hear that word in a song, those lines really stick with me, right? Or, I guess you could say they linger on my mind. But yeah, I wanted to build off the next two lines in the chorus, actually, based off of just that word. And that's where the callous fingers line comes from, because linger, finger, they rhyme. But, there's more to it. Sometimes, like, you can perceive someone's story or their experiences based on the calluses on their hands, right? Like, when you look at a guitarist, you can see basically how much they've practiced playing the guitar and how skilled they are by looking at their fingertips sometimes. You can tell someone's a handyman or like someone who's used to like arduous labor, arduous like hand manual labor, by looking at how rough and coarse their hands are. And in this case, actually, you can tell the story of our heroes by how callous their hands have become after wielding their weapons so much, right? Like they've wielded their weapons so frequently in order to survive the constant onslaught and war that they had to endure, right? Yeah, I mean, you can tell. I love these lines so much because there's just so much that can be told just through hands sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of weird for that. Onward bound, we're headed down to stand our ground. Yeah, we're going to war. That's it. Cast aside all your fears tonight. No more time to grieve. Tear my life away from me. Now, this line after the chorus is actually where a bunch of our references come into play. So, all of these lines actually are references to previous lines in our other songs. The whole cast aside all your fears tonight line actually ties to The Descent, our first song, where we sing running down the stairs, never fear, don't be scared, right? The never fear, don't be scared is tied to the whole cast aside all your fears tonight, right? We're throwing our fears away tonight. And the line no more time to grieve actually ties to The Librarian, where we sing lost in time, paupers grieve, right? Now we're in the battlefield. There's no more time to grieve. We're in it. This is the fight. And to end it off, we have the post-chorus line from The Librarian, where it's like, tear my life away from me, right? You know what's even better, actually, in this part, in this section? If you listen closely to the instrumental, you can hear the chorus motif from The Librarian in the instrumental, where he's like, ba-dum, ba-da-dum. Like, you can hear that. You can hear that motif in the instrumental. It's not too hard to hear, but like, yeah, if you listen closely, you'll hear it. These words, although they're references, they're also used more like words of encouragement, actually, to continue the fight and rally our forces. It's almost like in basketball, where you got through the first quarter, right? And now we got to gather up our strength and morale, basically. Orios, Hiratos, Beatos, Arborum, Adole, Tyrannos, Deus, Laudamus. I've never gotten to explain what our Latin chants meant, but I had a lot of people ask about them. Now, my mindset actually going into writing these Latin chants was to write them in the perspective of the cultists that worship the tree. So I decided to use words that describe the tree, but place them in a manner that was like this. So I actually had a positive term, like something that seems positive, in the front, right? And then I had a negative term in the middle, right afterwards. And then right after that, I had another positive term again. So it was almost like we were sandwiching the negative word within two positive words, just to make it look like we're hiding this evil entity within the blankets of something comforting and something alluring, right? So the first line roughly translates to golden wrath, blessed tree. And the second line, although it's not really the exact translation, this is my way of making it rhyme in English. It roughly translates to lovely tyrant God, we give praise to thee, right? So it goes together like this: golden wrath, blessed tree, lovely tyrant God, we give praise to thee. It's a very cult-like chant hidden within the language of Latin, but that's our little Easter egg for you guys. Give me your heart, give me your soul, give me everything. Now, for the rap, I'm just gonna flat out say it, alright? This is definitely a reference to Attack on Titan. When I say give me your heart, I really, really do mean Shinzo Sasageo, okay? I was watching a lot of Attack on Titan at the time, trying to catch up with the final season when I was writing for The Siege. So that phrase from Commander Erwin was always on my mind, basically. And I actually intentionally wrote these lines to work in two perspectives. One in the perspective of our heroes encouraging each other and trying to lift each other's spirits by saying, Shinzo Sasageo, give your heart to the fight, give everything, or else we aren't going to win, right? But in another perspective, it can actually be seen as the tree and the rest of our enemies beckoning us, like in a sinister way, to give up our lives to them so they can devour our bodies and soul. It just be like, yeah, give me your heart, give me your soul, give me everything, because I'm gonna eat you. Show up and fight, show us your might, show us how you bleed. Now, the same thing actually applies here as well when it comes to perspectives, right? While our heroes can be using these lines to encourage each other, like, hey, come on, we have to fight, show us what you're made of, man. Um, it can actually also be twisted in a way for our enemies to use these lines to mock us and be like, yeah, show us how strong you are, heroes. We want to watch you bleed. Something like that. I laid all my dedication on the floor. Even my enemies are begging me for more. Now, I wanted this line to be vague in a way to where it's not really tied too much to the story, but it can be applied and generalized elsewhere, right? I actually use this line as a way to describe super passionate people in general, right? When you give everything and it shows, when your passion and like your hard work bleeds into your projects and what you do, people will take notice of it. It becomes very charming and kind of inspiring, and it can be seen like a spectacle that people really can't take their eyes off of. Even your haters will tune into what you do because they're just so enchanted by what you do, right? So these lines, although they're applied to our story, they really can be applied elsewhere to describe like, hey, I'm gonna give my all, and even the people that oppose me, they will still want to see how I pull this off. Oh, we got us one life, don't throw it all away. So let's never waste a moment, even if we're slain. So what I meant here is, even if we might die here, I'm not gonna waste any time and not make the best of what I got left. So we're gonna fight. Let's take it back. All our lives will take it back. Stand your ground, shouting loud, we'll take it back. Yeah, we're taking it back, baby. Our revenge, this is our retaliation. This is our comeback. We're gonna fight to be free. I'll lay my life down one more time before the night has crossed the line, and to our death we meet the end. This is our final breath. So actually, I wrote these lines before Vedra even made a rap section for us. During the clock ticking section, I really liked how it sounded like a metronome for me. So I wanted to put in a fast-paced, edgy rap right there. This is the end. Let me put out everything before the morning comes and the battle ends. And if this is where I die, I'm gonna go out on my own terms and fight to my final breath. And now the world's upon me, gathering hell tsunami. On my knees, hear my plea. The dread of war, it lingers through every callous finger. Raise the sound of our voices now, we stand our ground. Now, to really differentiate, but also still have that familiarity in the chorus, we kept basically everything here relatively the same, until the last half of the line here, just to really show how beaten down our heroes have become, basically. Although they still try to stand strong, right? We're at our breaking point where our composure is starting to fluctuate. This is where the desperation starts to build up and everything in the song starts to swell up to the climax. Rest your hands in mine and set your sights to heaven's light. All right. Okay, the final line. So leading up to this, we saw, spoiler alert, Yugi's death, right? This melody, I don't know if a lot of people picked up on this. This melody actually comes from the descent during our counterpoint melody in the bridge of that song, And it's very fitting that it's Vedra singing this part here because he was the one that had that melody in the descent as well. So initially, we weren't actually going to have lyrics here, but I thought about how we wanted this song to be our Bohemian Rhapsody, right? And Bohemian Rhapsody ends with a ballad, right? Where he goes, nothing really matters to me. And I wanted to employ that in a way for our song. Like, this was our way of saying goodbye to Yugi, right? goodbye to Babel, goodbye to DDCB, as basically Yugi ascends to the heavens after we lost her in the siege. Although we won, we still lost so much in the siege, and this was basically farewell. But yeah, that's my lyric breakdown of our song. You know, I hope you guys were able to get like, a little insight on my process and like, what goes on in my brain while writing these lyrics. And I hope it was a little entertaining for you guys, at least. We left the ending of Babel in our story pretty much open-ended at this point. We get the question sometimes, will we continue the Babel songs? Only time will tell, I guess. But yeah, this was pretty fun. I'm glad I could get more in depth about a lot of the lyrics and some of the inspiration and references I used. But anyways, please check out the music video for The Siege on YouTube. It's on Vetra's channel if you haven't yet. And also, please check out the playlist for all of Babel's songs. It's also in the description of The Siege as well. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I'll catch you guys next time, all right? See ya.